What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Hardworking Happy Hour. I'm Sean.
And I'm Catherine, and as always, we'll be breaking down all things trades, entrepreneurship, and turning your creativity into a passion career.
And this week, we are going to be talking about... What are we going to be talking about? What is it?
We're going to be talking about how to make viral content.
How to make viral videos on the internet?
Yep. Given all our tips and tricks.
Yeah. So we should say that we're not here pretending to be the preeminent experts in this field. We've had some success, and we're here to just kind of rap about it amongst ourselves, and hopefully you can get a couple tips from us, and I'm sure we could get some tips from you as well. So this is just sharing our experience, not trying to sit here and be like, oh,
yeah, this isn't like a how-to guide. This is like a we've done it.
Yeah.
And to note, today is a great day to do this.
Yep.
Because we just had a clip hit a million downloads, a million views on TikTok in, what was it? 16 hours?
Yeah, hit 1 million in 16 hours. Now it's at 1.2. It's been like 18 hours.
Yeah.
So it is pretty fitting that we're doing this. And we're starting to learn more about which clips and why. And we have we're starting to get a good sense of, oh, this one's going to do good.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
We're going to rap about all that.
Yeah. So congratulations on your viral clip. I meant to tell you that.
Congratulations to you as well.
Well, I had very little to do with it other than putting it on the internet.
Yep.
But
that's important. That's an important part of it. Yeah.
But it was your brainchild, Anthony's brainchild, your editing. Yep. And I popped it on the internet. So I guess it was.
No, but it was, we had a whole powwow about how we're going to set up the camera, what we're going to do. It was a team effort. Don't discount your part in that.
I was just trying to tell you. I was trying to give you a compliment.
I don't need constant reinsurance all the time. It's not something I need at all. So anyway.
All right. Well, let's get into it. Our drinks, I mean.
Oh,
I already just cracked it.
Yeah.
That was rude. I'm sorry. It was sitting here.
Why don't you tell everybody what we got this week?
We have tequila grapefruit cocktails, a sparkling Paloma by Two Chicks. One of my favorites.
Yeah, it's a good one. Cheers.
Cheers.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. It's a good.
It is. It's a good.
It's a good.
It's a good.
It's a good one.
Oh, that is delicious.
Delicious. Just delightful.
Delicious. And I'd never had a Paloma until we were all at Deck Expo.
Yeah.
And you were ordering up Palomas, and I was like, I guess I'll try one of those.
Yeah.
Delicious.
They're the best. They really are just the best.
It really is quite refreshing and amazing. And this is easy. It's in a can. You just pop it right open.
I know.
Oh, it's delicious.
Yep.
Ah. Okay.
All right. Well, let's get into the content. So before you start, okay, let's say you've started your journey.
Yep.
You're like, I want to be on the internet. I want to put my business on the internet.
Yeah.
Where's a good place to start? What do you need to start with?
Yeah, I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I'm overwhelmed.
You just the hardest part is getting started.
Yep.
That first step.
Every epic journey starts with the first step.
Right. And what's the first step, Sean?
First step, I would say, is making sure you got the right equipment.
Exactly.
Did I guess that? Wow. It's almost like we went over this outline before we started.
I feel like I went off caffeine for a couple days, and now I'm back on the horse, and I feel like I have squirrely energy today. So
squirrely energy is where we thrive.
I know.
I went off caffeine for one day, didn't like the lack of squirrely energy, so went right back to it, because I realized why are we doing this? This is stupid.
Yeah.
Okay. So
anyway, back to equipment. So
back to equipment.
It is important because a lot of people, if you take bad video, that's the first thing that people scroll past. If it's like a bad video with bad audio. So you have to make sure that you have the right equipment, which kind of sounds daunting, but isn't and shouldn't be.
It's not. And for a lot of stuff, and we should say, we're going to kind of focus on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook style videos. We're not talking about the long form YouTube stuff because we already covered that a little bit more in depth. And, I think they're two kind of totally different things. So
yeah, definitely.
Number one, using your phone.
Yes.
Phone's great.
Yep.
We still do, even though we have a nice camera with a nice lens and mic, we still do some of the content on our phone because it's just like a little bit easier. So you can use your phone, but one of the things that you want to think about is just making sure that you have like a good setup with a stand, something like that. Like there's a lot of things that we do with set it up on a little tripod, so that you can get stationary shots. Like if you're doing like creative little, like the video that we posted yesterday of us, it looked like this little piece of framing that kind of magically happened, and it was very important that the camera stayed in the exact same spot the whole time so we could edit it together. So little things like that, like a stand, you know, that's kind of it for a phone. Like if you're going to use your phone, you don't really need much more than that.
Yeah.
I would get a stand, but other than that, I would say a GoPro.
Yeah, and GoPros are I don't know how much they cost, but I think they're relatively cheap, right? Yeah,
they're like, so we have the GoPro Hero 7. That's like, now they have the 10. They might even have an 11 out now, but the 7's been great. There's not a whole lot of new features on the 10 that I feel like we need. So, and there's a lot of bugs with that apparently. So if you get a Hero 7, you can probably get one for like $200, $250. And that I think is the best thing for time-lapse video.
Yeah.
Time-lapse has always done really well for us.
Yeah. Time-lapse, we can talk about that when we actually get into the content, but that has been great. Yeah. For sure.
What other, you got any other equipment? I got a couple that might not be necessarily equipment, but I'll mention.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to go more into the camera situation. Like, if, like an iPhone is a great place to start. You just have to be mindful of like having shaky hands, and like that's kind of nauseating when you're watching a video and it's got like a person with a shaky hand and you're just kind of jolted all over the place. Yeah. So just be mindful of that. And if you do want to step it up, a GoPro is a great place to start. But if you want to even go further, there are upgrades, obviously, in cameras that get like more and more complicated. But if you just spend some time learning it, then
it's easy.
It's not necessary, but it does make a good impact if you use it properly.
Yeah, and it's like a natural progression. You can do a lot with your phone. You can do a lot with a GoPro, but when you kind of do everything that you can with those, you can upgrade your setup. And I think the most important thing for that is the sound quality. Yeah. So we have just a Canon camera with a nice lens on it, and we got the best microphone that we could get on it because the audio quality is super important. And
that's true.
Sound is very important for some of the viral clips that we'll be talking about later. Yeah. You want to get that good, crisp sound.
Sound is super important, and especially in an environment like where we work, we're outside all the time, so you have to worry about wind. And if you just have a bunch of, you have this great video idea and it's shot with a microphone that's just having a bunch of wind noise, that's
not good.
Scroll right past that. That's so annoying to listen to. So there's something called a dead cat you can put on top of a microphone. Or you can buy like, there's all different sorts of windscreens for microphones, or like the a lot of people use lavalier mics. So there's a lot of options with that for sure.
Yeah, but you can definitely start with your phone. GoPro is a good thing to have. So so we don't want anybody to feel like discouraged. Like, you might see the camera setup that we have and be like, oh, I don't know how to use that. Like, you can do 90% of this with just your phone. With the right tactics. So
and I feel like even with the phone, like you obviously get wind noise, but if you're just in the mindset of like, okay, I have to think about the wind, you can just kind of make adjustments like on the fly.
So another thing that's not necessarily equipment, but kind of falls under that, would be royalty-free music.
Well, you gotta wait on that.
Oh, is that a totally different segment?
That's a different part. We're gonna wait for the editing segment to talk about that.
Oh, okay.
So stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned for that. So that kind of covers it for equipment to get started. There is other equipment like gimbals and stuff like that. If you have a nicer camera and you want those really steady shots, we do have a gimbal that the camera's mounted to. So also drone. Drone is always good. You can get nice drone videos, and that's really cool for like transition shots and just to kind of like set the scene of what's going on. So
I would say even not for like videos, but for videos, but just the still images from the drone. That creates amazing content just for like standalone pictures.
Absolutely.
For sure.
For sure.
For sure.
All right, well, that kind of covers equipment for the most part. We didn't want to focus on that too much. Now let's get into the magic.
Yeah. So you've got all your equipment ready. Then what do you do?
I don't know, Catherine. What do I do next? I got the equipment. Where's my viral video?
You gotta get set up. You gotta get prepped.
You gotta get prepped?
You gotta prep these ideas.
You gotta have a plan?
You gotta have a plan.
sounds
Because I know
lot like,
it seems like when we post these clips, it's just natural every day these things are happening, which sometimes they are, but you always want to like have a plan of what you're going to do.
Yeah. And it's in a lot of ways the same as planning for the project you're building. Like you're going to lay out in your schedule, like, okay, this day we're going to be installing the ceiling. You know, next day we're going to be working on the wall, or we're going to be doing this. So you kind of plan out your work schedule that way. So if you have that planned out, you can kind of just take a little bit of time and look ahead and think, okay, we're doing this on Wednesday. It would be really cool if we got some shots of the starting point of it, and we can create a video in one day that has a really cool start to finish of one specific thing with some satisfying elements in it. So it doesn't take a whole lot of time necessarily to plan it.
Right.
Because hopefully you're already planning out your job and what you're going to do. So something to think about.
Yeah. So, and especially be mindful of like, if you want to get good before and after content or process content, like you don't want to get to the end of the job and be like, okay, cool, I made this cool thing or whatever you did. And then be like, oh, but I have like no content from like showing where it started. So just be mindful of getting like,
the whole thing.
Like make a plan of what content you want to get. So then you make sure that you have the whole picture captured instead of just getting to the end and being like, okay, well now I have a finished project.
What do I make?
What am I going to do with this?
And a lot of our best stuff has nothing to do with the final product.
Yeah.
So that's something that like could deter people. It's like, well, you know, we're just doing like we're not doing anything super crazy on this project like you guys typically do. We're not going to have that much great content, but you can create really cool content around the simplest things.
Yeah.
If you just plan it out and you kind of have a certain structure to it, there's a lot of really cool things that you can make from seemingly mundane tasks.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that we do that have gone the most viral.
Yeah.
So
this clip that we just posted yesterday that's gone viral, that was just throwing a pork chop together.
Yeah.
Not a
cut of meat.
Not a cut of meat.
Little soffit return on our gable roof.
Yeah.
So
it was just one little detail, and it was a really good video.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing when you're prepping kind of your content ideas, be mindful of like what's topical in the moment. Like TikTok and Instagram Reels have trends. So if you're kind of aware of what's happening in those trends, you can kind of prep what you can do around those with what you've got going on currently at your job. So it's kind of just good to be mindful of those kinds of things if you want to do that kind of content.
Yeah, and we've been doing a little bit of that. Like you've been doing it on your personal page. Ant's been doing some of it where you take like a trending sound, and if you're like consuming that content and seeing like what are the viral sounds right now, especially on TikTok, you can like kind of see, oh, we're going to be working on this week. This sound's going to be perfect for this scenario. So just like having it in your mind and thinking about what's upcoming, what are you going to be doing? And if you think about it like that and plan it out a little bit ahead of time, it's not that much time to actually capture the video and then spend a little bit of time editing it. So planning is very important.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
All right, so we've got our equipment. We're all prepped and ready.
Now what do we do? Now I'm scared. Now I'm scared. What do we do?
You gotta make your content.
You gotta make your content. And this is where I think it really gets more interesting.
Yeah.
This is where all the magic happens in making the content.
Yep.
Where do you want to start with this?
There's a lot to factor in. I guess just like, let's just start with like the facts. Like,
okay,
you want to keep your videos as short as possible. You want to pack the biggest punch into the shortest video possible because people have short attention spans.
Yeah.
So even if like you have a 6-second clip of something really interesting, if it's really interesting, that clip's going to do well, especially because it's 6 seconds and people are going to keep watching it over and over again. But there's nothing wrong with longer videos as long as you are able to keep people's attention.
Yeah. And there are definitely elements to that. So
yeah,
I'm going to consult my notes because I wrote down quite a few notes this week. All right. So couple tips just kind of right off the bat. make sure you get close enough to see what's going on.
Yeah.
I see a lot of times people are just like, they're not really getting super close to the action. And I think that is like, you can't see what's going on. Like, you want like a really visually appealing thing, especially like right off the bat, to like draw people in. Like, oh, what's going on there? That looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, you just see people that don't think about the camera angle.
Yeah, the
that
framing.
much. Yeah.
Of the actual content. Yeah.
Like a lot of times it feels like the person just gave it to like their Uncle Ned. It's like, hey, Uncle Ned, film this.
Can
And
you
it's
film
like,
this real quick?
you know, his thumb's in the camera lens, and you don't really like see what's going on. So
yeah.
be like really mindful of the camera angles, what shots you're getting, and that's definitely going to help a whole lot.
Yeah. Can you think of an example of where we did that in one of our clips?
Yeah, I would say, let me think. So, do you have anything specific in mind? Okay, so the tip of Tony measuring that thing, he measures out 10 inches. I was filming that, and I was being very conscious of like, so it basically, I'll describe the clip. He is measuring between 2 points, and you pull out the tape measure, and then you have it like bent up in the corner, and it's hard to read that number. So he says, measure 10 inches out from one side, and then you have like a clear point where you can get an exact measurement. So I get really close into the corner where he sees like the tape rolling up in the corner trying to look for a mark, and that's something that like people can relate to that. So getting super close to that, and then he makes his 10-inch mark, then he pulls from the other side, and then I zoom in right on the tape measure so you can see the exact mark. He can get an exact measurement, and then he goes, cuts it, brings it back, fits right in, zoom in on that finished cut. And, you know, all those little things contributed to that one being really our most successful video that we've made.
Yeah. And I think it was another thing to think of is like switching angles too. There was a lot of like movement in that.
Yeah.
Like you were focused in on him measuring, and then you show him, and then he leaves, you show him walking away and coming back. There was a lot of like visual interest in that to keep somebody's attention. It's not just one frame held for a full minute.
Yeah.
That's not something usually that keeps people's attention. So
yeah, and a lot of times what we do like with that clip is just keep the camera running the whole time. So I might have had 3 or 4 minutes worth of footage there that was then edited into 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So you're trimming out a lot of things. Like, watch your clip and like look at it as, what part does it look like nothing's going on? Like, is nothing going on? Trim as much out as you can and just have like the very essentials where things are happening, things are moving, and the more camera angles that you can change, crop in and out, cuts, it's going to keep people's attention a lot more than, you know, just like one full running clip with no cuts, no zoom, no crop change, anything like that.
Yeah.
So
that's true. And I think that one of the things when I started kind of editing these clips too was pay attention to, like, you are usually kind of like we talk about like making an avatar of who's going to consume your content. You are usually close to that person. So pay attention to what content you enjoy and see how that's filmed.
yeah.
And, you know, like, what grabs your attention? What is it that there's a lot of camera angle changes, or is it that it's super informational, or what about certain clips kind of grab your attention visually, not even just with the content, just visually what grabs your attention, and kind of think, how can I do that in my videos?
Yeah. I think you should always be consuming content on a regular basis because it's going to give you ideas for different things that you can do with your video. You might see like a really cool, you know, time-lapse thing where it's, you know, time-lapse of some really cool little detail of a project. Or what I'm seeing a lot of now is like where you take one piece, like you take one paver, you show that, you throw it like where the patio is going to go. As soon as it hits, it moves to the finished product. That's like really popular. So you can like get these ideas of simple concepts that you can then integrate, and it kind of helps that people are like familiar with that type of, like, people have seen it, so they're familiar with it. It's a really cool impact. So
Yeah.
You can always get ideas from watching other people's content, especially content that you like and you enjoy. You know, likely your ideal avatar is going to be similar to you, so
yeah,
good place to start.
Yeah. That's interesting you said that. I hadn't thought about it like that, but that's probably why those like TikTok sounds like are so trend, like, you know, a trending sound. That's probably why, because you're already familiar with a part of it, and then you just watch it because you're like, oh,
you can
this
see
is a new version of something that I'm already familiar with.
Yeah, people don't like change.
Yeah,
they like things that are familiar. So
yeah,
I think there is like there's a lot of different formats, but there's a lot of like different categories that like a viral video will fit into. It'll fit into like one of these boxes.
Yeah.
So you can usually, if you like analyze it, you can pinpoint what was it about this video. Was it like super visually appealing? Was it super informational? Was it really funny? Or ASMR?
Mm-hmm.
That's real popular. So
that is, yeah.
It usually like fits into one of those boxes, and you can mimic a lot of that content. You just have to kind of plan it out and what's going to work best with what you actually have going on your project.
Yeah.
So what else? You got any other good tips for, cause I got a bunch of them here. I got just a laundry list. I think this is where we're going to like spend most of the time in this episode, is just the tactical stuff in the clip.
Yeah.
In the video.
Yeah. My next thing was arouse strong emotions. I think that's
a good one. Yeah.
This can be like, I feel like you can either go like light with it or go dark sided with it, where like you're purposely provoking people. But most people have a strong opinion about most things. So you can kind of play into that, because at the end of the day, engagement is engagement. If a million people watched your videos, it doesn't matter if they liked it or if they didn't like it.
I mean,
a million people.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. But they're like, some people like to be that like super villain role. So some people like that. I'm not saying it's for everybody, but if a million people watched your video, then a million people watched your video.
That's true.
So,
and a lot of times it doesn't, like, one thing that comes to mind, like whenever we do install Tyvek, we usually try to install it upside down because that just gets people riled up.
Yeah,
and we know it's going to like incite people to comment like, you're such a hack. You put the Tyvek on upside down, when you specifically made a video showing their website that says it is undirectional and like you can do either side out. It
doesn't matter. It's just a logo.
It's just a logo. It doesn't mean anything. People are like, no, the way that the grain patterns arranged to wick water. And you're like, I just had to do one Google search right here on the manufacturer website. Yeah. So yeah, that's a great one. I didn't actually have that one in my notes.
Yeah.
You should do like little things.
Sometimes, and it's kind of funny to throw like even just like a slight mistake, or like not even a mistake, but some slight thing to grab people's attention. Or another one that we did recently was Sean did the 3-hammer nail trick into wood that was going to it was a sill plate, so it was going to get cut out anyway.
Yeah.
And but if you didn't know that, it kind of just looked like we were just destroying a piece of this thing that we just built.
Yeah.
So the nail trick was fun, and that was funny, and a lot of people liked it, but like at least half the comments were like, if these hacks were at my house, they'd be fired on day one. And
we definitely knew that, like, going into it. It was like, okay, this is our door opening. We're going to be cutting out this piece, but when people see this, they're going to be like, oh, not at my house. You won't be messing that up. Nice piece of wood. So the more that you make, and the more like, especially like on TikTok, people are brutal on there. You'll like know what is going to like slightly bait people. So you're not like necessarily, you don't want to do something like agitating just for the sake of being agitating, but it can just be like a little thing that like when we made that video, it wasn't like we were purposely messing something up. It was something that was going to come out. But in the back of our heads, we're like, all right, I know this is going to generate some comments for sure, because people are just going to freak out and they look for anything that they can say about anything.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't know why carpentry feels so polarizing, but people have such strong opinions.
Yeah.
And we posted a video recently where Anthony's hand was bleeding, and the comment section was just full of some people saying that like, oh yeah, he's a real carpenter. I know that because his hand is bleeding. And some people were like, he is a hack because he is bleeding. So it's like,
it was
it didn't
very
matter,
like
It was
very
torn.
polarizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just this simple little thing. And
The same thing. Two people can really have different opinions on it. So, but overall, great. That one, I think, now has over 1 million on YouTube. So you're seeing a theme here. These things that are another example, the one that we just did of Ant dancing around in the...
Oh, right, yeah.
We poured a 7x7 slab. We had just gotten done pouring a 20x24, so we already had the concrete boots on and everything. So we're pouring it straight into a 7x7 pad. Definitely don't need to be standing in the concrete to get that slab done. We could easily just reach it from the outside. But we already had the boots on. We were having fun, you know, so that provoked so many comments.
Yeah.
I just saw on the Premier Outdoor Living business Facebook page, that's got like 600,000 views. It's got a couple 100,000 on Instagram. I think it's got same on TikTok. So that one overall is at about 1 million views. And it was because of something silly as people saying, this guy's not a real pro.
Yeah.
A lot of people taking exception to the fact he was wearing shorts while doing concrete work.
Yeah. I didn't know that was a thing.
I didn't either.
Who knew?
But full disclosure, we're not concrete pros, and maybe concrete pros don't wear shorts on the job, but that seems uncomfortable. So
yeah.
But
I even
stir up a little. Don't be afraid to be a little edgy.
Yeah. And even like if you maybe you don't want to be edgy, but just don't be afraid to be like you have to present yourself as absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to just put yourself out there because you're like, oh no, I wonder what people are going to say. People are going to pick this apart. Let them pick it apart.
Yeah. People are going to pick it apart one way or the other, no matter what you say or whatever disclosures you put out. So don't be afraid to just stir the pot a little bit.
Yeah.
We have plenty of evidence that it works. It works really well. We've got, I would say most of our viral content, things that have over 1 million views, are in one way or another a little bit like provoking comments to come in. So
yeah, actually, that's very true.
Yeah.
And the other most viral clip we have, that's the cricket video, which is just a little
roof valley
extension thing. People are like, it's gonna leak, or they're like, that's the cutest little cricket I've ever seen.
Yeah. And sometimes it'll surprise you, like, you know, even videos that you don't expect are gonna like kind of drum up a lot of either negative or just like squirrely people saying squirrely stuff.
People come up with really creative
They really
stuff.
do. They really do. And it's like, what are you talking about? But in the end, that's always good.
Yeah.
Engagement's good.
Yeah.
So something to think about there.
And there have been a select few times where people have been like, I would do this differently and this is how. And you're like, oh, not a bad idea. That's
not a bad idea. Yep. So yeah, that's one good tactic. And I didn't have that written down. So good thing that you thought of that, because it's one of our best ones.
Yeah.
So
all right, what else you got?
Oh, I got so much more. I have so much more. We might have to do like a 4-part episode for this, because I just have so much. Okay, here's a simple one.
Okay.
Especially if you're shooting on your phone, shoot in vertical format.
Oh, yeah. So then you don't have to adjust to post it right to your phone.
Yeah, you don't have to adjust it, or you don't, like, I see so many videos of people, especially like when they post drone footage, they don't then edit it to a different like crop size. So it's taking up so much or so little real estate on the screen. So
that's true.
Vertical format works best for all apps, especially Instagram and TikTok. And not only is it more visually appealing, it also is going to take up more like vertical real estate.
Yeah.
Like on something like Instagram where it's a feed. If you have a vertical post, you're taking up almost the whole screen.
Yep.
TikTok, you're going to take up the whole screen anyway with, you know, just one video, but the content's going to be small in relation to like just the blank space.
Yeah.
So anytime that you can shoot in vertical format, do that, and it's just automatically going to be more appealing.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point, because people don't consume Instagram or TikTok anywhere other than on their phone. So if you're shooting content for that, then that's definitely something you should be mindful of. Yeah.
And even for Facebook, anything besides YouTube, really, it should be vertical.
Yeah.
And if you're doing YouTube Shorts, those also are vertical. So
Can you watch YouTube Shorts on, like, I know a lot of people
on a
watch.
computer?
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
You can?
But it's still,
skinny, right?
Yeah, it's still in like the 16:9 portrait
Yeah.
orientation. So
Okay.
no matter where they consume it, it's going to be in that orientation. So you should shoot it like that. So number one, you're not cropping things out if it's shot at a different orientation previously. So whenever possible, shoot it in vertical. It's always going to make for better content.
Great one.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Great one. Great one.
That's a simple one.
Yeah.
That's a really simple, quick hitter. Now, I want to get into how you draw people in.
Ooh.
Because we're in a society where people are just scrolling on by.
Yeah.
They call it a swipe society, you know? People are doing that on social media, on dating web. Everyone's just quick to swipe.
True.
So you got to do something right away to grab their attention.
Immediately.
So always keep that in mind with something that's not going to have like talking in it. It should be a visually appealing thing, something to grab their attention right away, and something that can essentially either give the viewer the concept of what the video is about without words, or have them like ask a question like, "Oh, what is this?" and like stir up curiosity. That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're doing a talking clip, like you're going to reveal like a cool tip, or you're going to talk about something, wrote down a couple little pointers.
Okay.
Couple little pointers.
All right.
What do you think? Should I tell people?
Yeah. Let
You
them
think
know.
so?
Let the people know.
Okay.
Tell
So,
your secrets.
number one, if you're going to do a talking clip, use a hook in the first few seconds.
Okay.
You know?
So what's an example of a hook?
Okay. So, example for a hook is, hey, everybody, this is my best trick for X problem. Boom. And then you can also be demonstrating like what that tricky thing is. And that's what we did with the Tony measuring tip. It was like, okay, everybody knows this situation. It's a little hard to see what the measurement is. This is how I do it. Grabbed attention right away, like kind of stated the problem, hinted at what we're going to do to show you the solution for. So it stirs up that, oh, I can relate to that, and they're going to tell me how to do it.
Yep.
I'll keep watching. So you want to have that right in the beginning. You don't want to like waste time with, oh, hey, what's going on, everybody? Oh, we're out here doing this project, and oh yeah, I have a tip for you.
Yeah.
Get right to the point. I have a tip for you. Boom.
Love that.
It's going to change your life forever.
Yeah.
So hook them right away.
Make huge promises like it's going to change their life forever.
Yes.
And do that for everything.
Do that for everything. Everything that you put out is going to change someone's life.
Yeah.
So believe it. So yeah, just anything that you can do to hook people in right in that first like 3 seconds, I would say is the most important, because if it's not, like, people just mindlessly scroll. So you have to do something to like interrupt that mundane feed, like something that's going to jump out, be different enough to grab their attention so that they're like, oh, I've just woken up from my unconscious scrolling because this looks interesting.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like a trial and error thing, but those are some good ways to do it. If you're going to be doing a talking tip where you're going to be demonstrating something, use words like that. Like, okay, I wrote down a couple other nice little intro. Best trick for, said that one. My favorite way to.
Well, that's a good one.
You know how this part is always tricky? Hint at those things.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
great.
you.
Yeah. That's so true, because I feel like I see a lot of videos where people are like it's almost like they don't know how to crop a video. So it's like a first glance at their face and they're like, is this recording? Oh, okay. Hey, don't do that.
I was just about to say that.
You gotta learn. You gotta learn how to crop a video.
Or clip it or crop it. Crop it.
Maybe
you mean
it's
like
clip
where
it.
like yeah, like they're
not
like,
crop the screen. Cut out the first couple of seconds where you're being awkward.
Yeah. That is such a simple thing.
Yeah.
But yet, like, I think some people don't realize that, like, when you shoot something on your phone, like, they think it's like, oh, this is just the way it is. It's now carved in stone.
This is final,
I cannot do anything about this. It's so easy. It's so easy. You can just scroll over and just cut out that like first couple seconds.
Yeah.
Because I see that all the time. It's like,
Yeah.
like people are like, what,
is this on? Can you? Yeah, the squinty eyes. Like, is this thing recording?
Yeah.
You're recording? Okay. Okay. I should start. Okay.
Should I start now?
Right.
Or
it's like the camera's like down at their knees or something, and then it like flips up, and then it shows something. Just get rid of that.
Get rid of that. Just get right to the action.
Yeah.
There's no time to waste. You have like literally milliseconds to grab someone's attention, give them a reason to watch the rest of the video.
Yeah. And another thing.
Yeah. Another thing?
So you've got those couple seconds to get somebody's attention. Not even seconds, milliseconds to get somebody's attention. Be mindful of what people want to see.
Yeah.
People like seeing people's faces. And I know I say it all the time and I'm a broken record, but put your face on the internet.
Put your face out there.
People like seeing other people's faces. It's just basic human psychology.
It is.
So put a face in there.
Yep.
Don't scroll around on your lawn or whatever. Like put your face on there.
Yep.
Or if it's something like beautiful and visually appealing, that's also fine. But be mindful of like what visually is going to grab someone's attention as well as what you're saying.
Absolutely. Yeah. It needs to be both.
It needs to be both.
Another thing, like something else that you have to think about if you're going to do a tip like that is you have to think about it. Does this video make any sense whatsoever if somebody is listening without sound? Because a lot of times people are listening or watching these videos on mute. So, you know, it's not going to maybe be as good without the sound because you're explaining what's going on. But the visual cuts and everything should still be like attention grabbing. So it should almost like tell most of the story without sound.
Yeah.
Like people should be able to get the idea of what's going on.
That's so true. Make a person watch that and be like, oh, I wonder what he's talking about. And then turn on their sound. You want to be the clip that makes somebody turn their sound on. Yeah.
And annoys everybody around. So, but that's so true. Like I see a lot of clips where it's just somebody talking and they could be saying like something super profound, but a lot, like depending where I am, like if I'm laying in bed, I usually have the sound off. So I'm just going to keep scrolling. If like it's not subtitled or closed captioned and there's like nothing like to be seen, it's just somebody's face talking, I'm just going to scroll right by. So those usually don't do as well. You got to kind of think, what is this going to look like with sound or without sound? Yeah. And make sure it's digestible both ways.
Yeah. That's another good point, though, about the closed captioning.
Yeah.
If you're giving a tip or something, closed captioning is a great option.
It is a great option.
And it's inclusive for the deaf community. So
it is. That's true.
It's great to put captions on your video.
It is. It is. And I think it also, like, at least for me, it helps me, like, retain, because things like podcast clips or something like that, it always helps me, like, retain the information better if I'm listening and seeing the words.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like it makes a bigger impact on me.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That's just my personal experience.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I was going to say that's psychology too, but I think that everyone kind of learns in a different way, so that might not be applicable to everybody.
Yeah.
But that is true. That's like a lot of people learn that way, where if like you hear it and see it at the same time, that's like how your brain locks
really
it in there.
Yeah. For justice, some might say. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got anything else on
Excuse me,
making great content?
I'm burping. Yeah.
Because I have more.
Oh, well, go ahead.
I'm only like 5% through my list.
We might have a long episode on our hands.
I actually don't have that much more stuff, but I could keep going on forever. But so another thing that you want to think about, we've got the people hooked in the beginning.
Yeah.
Boom. Number one. They're gonna if they don't stay for that hook, it doesn't matter what's in the rest of the video because most people are scrolling by.
True.
So forget about it. Don't even matter.
Yeah.
So you like that little that little mafioso accent?
Yeah, that's good.
It don't even matter. So
like the Cooge guy.
Oh yeah.
He sounded like him.
Yeah.
Meals by
yeah.
something like that.
I like Lil Mo Mozzarella.
I don't know
the guy that Anthony likes. The guy that Anthony likes on TikTok.
Never
the
seen
Italian
him.
guy. No, I'll show you. You know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, we are getting a little squirrely.
A little squirrely. Sorry.
Sorry, everybody. What was I saying? Oh yeah. Okay, so you got the people hooked in the beginning. Boom.
Yep.
That's a good start. Is it enough? Catherine, is that enough?
No, you got to hold their attention.
You got to hold their attention. So you want to kind of lay it out like a storyline. And I'm going to use that Tony clip of him measuring that thing because I think that is our most successful video clip.
Yeah.
It's got, I want to say, over 30 million total views.
Yeah, I think
it's
that's fair.
got 11 million on TikTok. It's got like almost 10 on YouTube.
Yeah.
It really did well.
It did very well.
That's why we're referencing that one so much, because obviously there was something very special about that one.
Yeah.
And one element of it was that it was Tony, and who wouldn't want to watch a video clip of Tony? So
people love Tony.
People love Tony.
I don't want to interrupt you with the tangent, but I do think that we should tell the backstory of that clip at some point during this episode. So I don't want you to forget what you're talking about, so keep talking, but
okay.
I do want to come back to that.
Okay. That was just like a mental post-it note.
That was a mental post-it note for me and for you.
Okay. All right, so we have the people hooked in the beginning of that clip by, it goes in, he's showing, you're trying to measure between these 2 points, you can't get your tape to lay flat, you're bending it into the corner, and that was something that like people can instantly like relate to, like, oh yeah, I've been in that situation, that's tough. Boom, that grabs their attention. Had another element that we talked about, the controversial thing. A tape measure has a measurement of the body on it, and the specific tape measure that he was using was like 3 1/8. So you can butt the back of the tape measure up to your secondary point, see what number it lands on, and then add the body of the tape. He says, you can measure like this, butt the end of the tape, add the measurement, but if you do it like that, don't talk to me. Controversial. That's going to stir up a little bit of commentary, which it definitely did. It definitely
absolutely worked.
Then he gets into the solution.
Oh, it painted the full picture.
We're telling a story here. We're telling it's basically a full-length feature film in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
The hero's journey.
It has the whole thing. It's the whole package.
The whole thing. So then we get into the building up to the climax. He's going to show you his method. He butts one side, measures out 10 inches, flips tape around, measures from the other side to that mark, can see exactly how much it says, adds the 10 inches, boom. He has his measurement, 76 1/8. I think that's what it was. And then it's building up to that climax. He starts walking away, and I say, oh man, do you think it's going to fit? And he says, I don't know. We'll see. Boom. It cuts. And the whole time there's many, many camera cuts going on. So it's very choppy. It's very like, very visceral. You feel like you're there.
Yep.
Boom. He comes back. He's got a piece. Let's see if it fits. Pops it in there. Boom. Super tight. I zoom in on it. And then I do something. So that's kind of like the climax right there. Boom. His trick. It worked. The cut is super nice and tight. It was exact. And then right at the end, I make like some like really weird noise like, woohoo. And that's like the little surprise treat at the end.
Yeah.
They call it the goosh.
The goosh, yeah, you've introduced me to that term.
The goosh. It's a weird sounding word, but
don't love it.
Nah, I don't really love it either. But it's basically you have the resolution of the conflict. The piece fit beautifully.
Yeah.
Wow, great tip. And then another little funny little treat at the end. Boom.
Yeah,
you got yourself a good clip there. And the most amazing thing I think about that one on YouTube. It's now our most successful YouTube video, even though it's a short. It's got like 8.3 million views on YouTube, and it has a average watch percentage of like 140%.
Yeah.
So out of those 8 million views, people on average are watching it 1.5 times.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. Like, that's incredible. Usually once it gets
super rare.
Like if you have 100,000 views, it could appeal to a niche audience and it could have that high retention. But this one, the more views it gets, the more that average retention is growing, which is like something we never see.
Yeah.
Usually as it starts going viral, the average view duration goes down. This is going up, which just kind of like proves the point. It's got all those elements that hook people in, has the conflict, has a little bit of controversy, something for people to comment on. And then it's got that little, satisfying thing at the end. The piece fits in there. Beautiful. Woo!
It's the complete package.
It is the complete package.
All right, now tell the story about how it came about.
All right, so we were working on I don't know, doing high level business stuff in the mobile command center. Me and Catherine. It's like right before lunch. Ant comes in and he's like, "Hey, I think I got a good tip. So come out and film this." And he explains it a little bit. I'm like, I don't know. Like, all right. So I was like, okay, I'll come out. Then I talked to Catherine and I'm like, I don't know, like this doesn't sound like that cool of a video, but I 100% want to encourage this behavior of him thinking of what's going to be a good clip.
Yeah.
So I wanted to encourage that headspace of his.
Yep.
We film it. I chop it up, edit it, do some quick cuts. Instantly.
It was immediate
starts
hit.
Blowing up.
And it like continues to still be a hit. Like it was
still gets
growing
all the time. It's incredible. So
so don't be afraid to try something new and something you might not think will do well, and it might do great. So don't be afraid to put random stuff out there.
And like we always say, Ant is kind of like our avatar. He's not only like out in the field like all the time, doing all the stuff. So like he's kind of, we might be working on some other like office end stuff for part of a day, or working on editing the actual footage. Like he's sitting there doing the work all day, like hands-on carpentry all day, every day. So he's like kind of thinking of these little things that could be cool video content things that we might not be thinking of, because at that point we're working on something else. And plus he's also like our key demographic. So if he thinks it's a good idea, usually we've learned since then, we don't doubt him. He says, get the camera out. We're like, let's go.
Okay.
I don't care what it is.
Whatever you say.
Yep. So yeah, definitely a learning moment for us there.
Yeah.
But
I love that story though.
And I think a lot, like that was almost, obviously us filming it, putting it out there was sort of accidental, because we almost were like, maybe we'll get that clip later. But also I think not till looking back did we realize that it had all of those elements. Yeah. Like I think because it was so successful, we took more time to be like, why? Why is this so successful? And then we broke down all these little things and we're like, okay, this has like a formula, and these are replicatable things in it that we could do in the future. So, very interesting case study on that video. Yeah. So, something to think about.
We've broken it down many ways, and it's good to go.
Another one of these?
I am good on the drinks.
Okay.
My last tip is confidence.
Oh,
I feel like in addition to putting your face out there, which is my number 1 tip, my number 2 tip is be confident. And if you're not, if you're uncomfortable on camera, just fake it till you make it. It's gonna be fine. Yeah. But people watch, if you appear confident, people are more likely to like watch your stuff. If it's like immediately awkward or whatever, people are going to scroll right past it. So if you don't have that confidence yet, practice. Practice makes perfect. You'll get more comfortable as time goes on. Practice makes progress. Practice makes progress.
We're not striving for perfection here.
You're right.
Progress.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I misspoke.
It's okay.
It's okay. Striving to make progress.
Okay. Well,
in this situation.
With that, you just made progress. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. But I think that that's important. Like, it is hard to put yourself out there, and I say that all the time whenever we talk about this, but you're gonna get more confident, more comfortable, and it's so worth it to just try it. If you have an interest in it, try it. You're gonna get better.
Absolutely. And I've talked to a lot of people that, especially when like not as many people were doing stories, they've probably been out for like, I don't know, 3-4 years now. Yeah. But not a whole lot of people were doing them initially. I think there was like, people were just like more nervous because it was like almost like more of like a live thing. You know, it was like really putting your face like directly out there, like talking directly to kind of no one. But I think a lot of people were like hesitant to do that. I started like relatively early on doing stories, and people would always reach out to me like, like, I don't know if I could do that. I'm just not like, that's not my style. It's not my personality. I don't like being in front of the camera. And one of those people that said that was RC Outdoor. You know him, right? Mm-hmm. So he like, we used to, I mean, we still keep in touch, you know, on a semi-regular basis, but you know, we would talk on the phone every now and then, and he was like, I'm like, Rich, you got to get on the stories. get yourself out there. That's how you're going
Yeah.
to grow your audience and everything. And people want to hear from you. Like, you have a really unique story of how you're building your business, and people want to hear it. So he was like, I don't know. It's like not my style. I'm like not, I'm not like wanting to put myself out there. Look at him now. He's like, you can't get that guy off the stories. It's unbelievable. He's wearing, flamingo shirts on Fridays. He's like, he really blossomed, and it didn't take that long. It's just like that initial, and I felt the same way. It was like, this is kind of weird. I don't know, like just filming myself doing these things. So it's always going to feel like a little bit uncomfortable in the beginning, but most of the time that is like very short-lived, and it feels natural after that. And you're going to get better at it as well. So
very true.
Yeah.
And it makes all the difference. So
it makes all the difference.
Do it. Put your face on camera.
Put your face on camera,
Number
or Catherine will come after you.
I'm going to come film your stuff for you and put you on camera.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you have any like wrapping up tips? Because we do need to move to the next portion of this.
Yeah.
episode.
Let me just see if I have anything else on the. I think the rest of the stuff is going to fall into the last topic here.
All right. So the next segment is the editing portion.
Okay. So wait, I'm not done yet. I can't upload.
Nope.
I have 6 minutes of raw footage of like it's got like a couple points that are really good and interesting. I can't just upload the 6 minutes.
No, please don't.
No, but everyone's going to be like, oh, I bet
Please
this is going
don't.
to be really good.
You are not as interesting as you think you are.
No, I'm not.
Unedited.
Are you sure?
You might think it's great,
God.
but you got to cut out the lulls. You got to get it quick and choppy and nice and concise for
Yep.
the internet.
You do. Because again, people have short attention spans, and
You might be the most interesting person in the world,
yep.
but you're going to still need editing.
Yeah. Like that Dos Equis guy, the world's most interesting man. That's still edited.
Still edited.
You only see him for a couple seconds per commercial. So think
Exactly.
about that. And he's the world's most interesting man. So, yeah, one thing I always point to with this is time-lapse footage. So people ask a lot of questions about, how we do our time-lapse footage, because we've had some really successful videos with that, especially the full project time-lapses on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Our one, it was for a long time our most successful video until Ants surpassed it, but it still has by far the most watch time, because that's a 20-minute video, full project time-lapse. It has over 500,000 hours of watch time.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
That's pretty
That
incredible.
blows my mind.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's a lot of time.
It's insane. It's
pretty
wild. But anyway, people don't realize how much stuff gets cut out of the time lapse.
Yeah.
I go in and I'm very diligent with, like, if there's a 2-second period where nothing, like all you're seeing is people walking around the project and you're not seeing like a thing get installed, I'll cut it out.
Yeah.
Because it gets really boring really quickly when people don't see things happening. So
Yeah.
that's like number one. A time-lapse thing, like, don't think you're just going to take a time-lapse of a day's worth of work and upload it.
Right.
You're going to cut out, I would say, most of the time, like 75% of the footage is just dead space. Cut it out.
Yeah.
Boom.
You got to.
You got to.
And just like for the manual part of editing, if you're recording on your phone, there are apps that you can use, but there's also there's stuff you can do like trimming it down.
Yep.
Like we said, trim out that dead space in the beginning. You can just do that on your iPhone. Makes it so much better. You can do it in the apps. You can do it in TikTok or Instagram. They have, it's not the best, but you can do it in there.
Yep.
Or you can download a third-party app like Final Cut is for Mac, or even just
iMovie.
iMovie.
Yeah.
That just comes with your computer if you have a Mac.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Windows ones are though. Do you know?
It's probably some like weird, like, I don't know. Like, if you want like a professional one, you would get like Adobe Premiere.
Yeah.
That would be like another Final Cut level program. And I would, like, if you're going to really like actually look to get into this, I think it's a really great investment. You can start on iMovie. If you have a Mac, it comes with it. You can do a lot of the things that you do on Final Cut, but just kind of a simplified version.
Yeah.
So that's what I started on, learned a lot about that, then kind of maxed out those features, went to Final Cut, and it just makes it a lot easier to edit everything right on there, cut out the dead space, speed things up, slow things down, add transitions, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Another thing.
What
else is important? Say we got a time lapse. What are we going to want to put on there?
Kenny B's?
Oh, yeah. Kenny B's are important. That wasn't what I was going for.
Oh.
The Ken Burns effect in time lapses is critical. You can do that in iMovie.
Yeah.
You can do it in Final Cut.
Wait, you got to say what a Kenny B is because people
it's
probably...
Ken Burns effect. So he was a famous, I don't know, guy or director or something. Film guy.
Film guy, yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. But basically, it's a slow zoom. Or it could be a fast zoom. But basically, you start...
Or pan out.
Or a pan out,
It's a panning motion. In or out.
Yeah.
Or over.
Yeah, basically
panning
anything.
motion.
You have your full frame. You decide, like, okay, at the beginning of the clip, we start with this frame. By the end of the clip, it's going to slowly transition to that. So it adds an element of motion to time-lapse. So all of our time-lapses, there's Ken Burns all over that thing. It gives a sense of, like, movement and interest, and it's really effective.
Yeah.
So that's a great effect to learn. But you got the Ken Burns. You got the visual thing popping off. What else do you need?
What?
I don't know. What else do you need? You got, it's like, oh, I'm watching this thing. It's great.
Oh, jaunty tunes.
You need some jaunty little tunes for it.
There's got to be music. It can't be silent.
It can't be silent, but it's still interesting if they have their sound off.
It's still interesting. It catches the attention.
Yep.
But the music tells them how to feel.
It tells them how to feel.
If you put a jaunty tune under a time lapse, they're like, they're in it. You're in it. You're in it. Your attention is peaked.
Yep.
If something like dramatic is happening and you have dramatic music, people are like, oh my gosh.
What's going to happen?
What's happening?
Yep.
If it's suspenseful, they're like, what's happening next?
Yeah.
What's gonna happen? Is something gonna pop out and scare me? I don't know.
Yep. And sometimes it's fun to just put like suspenseful music behind something that like where nothing actually happens.
That is true.
But yeah, because it's also like if it needs to be appealing without sound.
Yeah.
If people are listening to it silent. But I feel like when I do have my sound on and I'm scrolling through things, if something doesn't have sound, when everything else has sound, I scroll right past it.
Right past. Immediate scroll.
So you need to have both elements. It's important.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, Catherine, I'm not a musician. I'm not a composer. Where am I going to get this music?
Well, you're going to get some royalty-free jams. You can't steal jams from just anybody, from artists.
You can. You just might go to jail.
It's true.
Yeah.
You can't just like pop a Beyonce tune behind your thing and be like, this is great. This is what we're doing.
Yep.
It's got to be royalty-free jams. And there are all sorts of services. We use artlist.io.
Yeah.
That's it, right? They've got plenty of jaunty tunes. No lack of jaunty tunes on Artlist.
Tunes coming out the wazoo over there.
Yeah.
We love it. Yeah.
But there are other websites, and it's just called royalty-free music. So
search it. It's a service that you pay for, and it's like, a license for life.
Yeah.
So
and
even if you cancel the service, the license, as long as you had the service while you uploaded the video, it's still good.
And it's not expensive.
It's like,
right?
I think it's $200 a year for the one we use. It has so much stuff. It also has sound effects. It's got all kinds of stuff. So definitely worth it, because if you're just doing like the royalty-free stuff that's in iMovie, it's pretty lame.
Yeah.
And we always get comments like, yo, what's this song?
Yeah, we do.
And I'm like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know, some weird random naming thing.
Yeah, but you brought up sound effects. That's another great tool to use. Sound effects.
I love sound effects.
You do love sound effects.
There can never be enough sound effects.
Yeah, you've really got me hooked on them too. They're fun. They go on everything.
I know. It just makes it so much fun. It's so exciting.
Yeah.
Which is great. And you've become really good with the sound effects. And I feel like also I fell into like a little bit of a rut with the royalty-free music that I'd found and was reusing a lot of the same stuff. And I think you've really like taken it to another level with like setting the mood and putting like really subtle music in certain areas that, like obviously I would always put it on time-lapse footage or stuff like that, but you're doing it in areas where like it really does set the mood.
Yeah.
And it's like you almost don't even notice it, but it has that effect of like making you feel a certain way.
Yeah. I think that's the best part about music. It kind of tells people how to feel without even telling them like knowing it, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you want to create some sort of suspenseful thing, and like the music shouldn't be your hook, but it almost kind of is, because it's like telling people how to feel.
Yep.
So, and I think all of this might feel overwhelming, and Final Cut might feel overwhelming to somebody who's just starting out.
Yeah.
But I started doing it, and I was like pretty decent at it within a week, I would say.
Yeah.
So it seems
You've only been
like
doing it for like, what, 3 weeks? Probably? Maybe a month?
Yeah.
And yeah, honestly, the clips are great.
Well, thank you.
So any of the clips that you see on Hardworking Happy Hour are all Catherine's edits. You'll see effects fly onto the screen, all kinds of cuts and really cool stuff. And she just learned. So if you just apply yourself, and you got to be like interested in it and like have fun with it, you can learn pretty quickly.
Yeah, but if that's the thing that's stopping you, like it's not as overwhelming as it seems. Yeah, you can get pretty decent at it pretty quickly, I would say.
I would say as well.
Yeah.
Took me years, but I'm just a slow learner. So, yeah.
It didn't take you years. And I did have you to teach me, but I feel like a lot of the stuff I figured out, I was being kind of like annoying about it, where I was like, I'm going to figure it out by myself. So I think that you can figure it out by yourself.
I think you can.
Or watching the videos that they supply, or the YouTube
watching
videos.
A master, yeah. Yeah, you did take to it very quickly, and I think you have like, especially using the music and sound effects to like set the mood has really taken some of those clips to the next level, especially ones that like are kind of more telling a story of like what's going on in a certain moment. So
yeah, we are perpetually leveling up. And
always leveling. We're always trying to get better. That's all we're trying to do. We're just trying to get better here.
We leveled up.
We leveled up. You leveled us up, Catherine. Thank you.
You are so welcome.
Appreciate that. Where do we go from here?
Those were the 4 quadrants of content.
I thought you were going to say up another level.
Oh, up another level.
Again.
We got to level up next.
Next, that's coming up next.
The level up portion.
Yeah. So another thing with the music, an easy thing to do when you're cutting up your clips, cut the video clip to the beat.
Oh, yeah.
So your transitions are on beat.
Very
it's something that like people that don't edit or, they might not notice it, but it's something that you definitely just innately realize is a more appealing clip.
Yeah.
Like you might not realize that it's cut to the beat. You might if it's super obvious, which is also fine, but if you do that, it's just going to feel more consumable.
That's so true. And you did a great job when you we did a couple of videos, and in one of them you were tamping down a screed bed, and you did that to the music, and people noticed that. People were like, I love how you did that.
That was
tamped
really
on the
tough.
beat.
Yeah. Like you can just cut the transition between clips on the beat. Super easy to do. That one, I like had to speed up and slow down each hit of the tamper, but it was worth it. It was so cool.
It was really
and it was fun. That probably took me like an hour to make that 5-second clip, but it was cool. It was fun.
It was cool, and people noticed it. People liked it.
People did notice it, so it was all worth it.
Yeah.
Not a waste of time. I think that kind of covers it for the editing without getting too crazy into that.
Yeah.
A lot of the editing is just, you got to get on there. You got to try it out. You got to, encounter like a problem, something that you can't figure out. Google it, go on YouTube. There's so many videos about all of these softwares.
Yeah.
Anytime I've had an issue with I can't figure something out, just Google it. Answer comes right up and I figure it out. And you're always adding these little tricks to your toolbox of editing, and it gets really fun. You can you get to do videos like the one we did yesterday where it looks like we're just throwing pieces of wood up at the roof and it's like magically coming together.
Yeah.
It was just like a fun thing to edit. So
yeah,
you'll start to enjoy it, hopefully, if you get into it, and you'll get better as you go. And I'm sure we'll touch on this topic more in the future.
Yeah.
Do you think so?
There's always more to say.
Are we going to do more episodes?
I think we probably should. You want to?
I think we should probably continue the podcast. Everybody let us know. Or if it has run its course, also let us know. If we should just give up, let us know. No, we have so much more to talk about. It's going to be great. And
we have a lot of exciting stuff planned.
Yeah. And if you want this show to succeed, please give us a 5-star review.
Yeah.
It helps out a lot.
It does help. Tell your friends. Tell your friends.
Oh, yeah. More importantly,
give us a listen.
Tell your friends first, and then give us a 5-star review.
Exactly. Get them to give us a 5-star review.
Yeah. It's like a 5-star review pyramid scheme. All you have to do is get 3 friends to give 5-star reviews, and if they get 3 friends, eventually somebody gets paid.
I would love to start a pyramid scheme.
We should.
That could be our next business venture.
Yeah. Hardworking pyramid scheme.
I think we're
Just
getting
an idea.
squirrely.
Oh, we always get squirrely right at the end. It's because we don't want to go. We're having
know,
so
we're having
much
so much
fun with all of you. So I think that covers it. We'll touch on some of those topics again in the future, I'm sure. And
Yeah.
next week, we're going to have another very special
Yeah, very
episode
special
for
episode.
you. Should we hint at it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
We're going to do a Father's Day episode, and we're going to have both of our fathers on the episode
Yeah.
and interview them because they were both in the trades. And, they're both our fathers. So,
They've shaped us into the humans we are today.
yeah. So, don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but we'll get to the bottom of it next
Yeah.
week on our Father's Day special. So, till next time, this has been the Hardworking Happy Hour.
See you next week.